from Cleveland, Ohio. He has lived in Youngstown, Ohio since 1971. He has had the privilege of speaking at West Point Military Academy, the Ohio State University, OH, the Coast Guard Academy, and many other universities, colleges, and high schools. He recently completed his first book entitled Standing in the Presence of Greatness. His number one hobby is challenging everyone he meets to be a difference maker. Reminding everyone you are not an accident, you are not a mistake, and there is reason for your life. Mr. Cahoot believes he really is standing in the presence of greatness. Without further ado, Mr. David Cahoot.
All right, so let's start with a confession. Here's the confession. Sunday morning, 8 o'clock, I was on my way to Newcastle, Pennsylvania. That is about 25 minutes away from Youngstown. Youngstown's about 1 hour between Cleveland and Pittsburgh. I spoke at 2 services as a guest speaker. Then my bride and I hopped in the car. We drove to Cleveland, had to pay respects, wanted to pay respects, to my aunt and uncle who he just passed away. Then that night, Sunday night, we were in Lima, Ohio. On Monday, we spoke at St. Gerard, and they brought in 2 other schools, St. Rose, St. Charles. Tuesday, Ben Logan, had a lot of kids in that assembly. Wednesday, I went to an inner city school in Dayton, Ohio. Thursday, which was yesterday, yes? Okay, yesterday, help me out. Thursday. Where were we? Fort Loramie. And that was an interesting experience as well. You're my last assembly for the week. I will tell you that if you said I had to go do 16 more, I could do that. Because I'm doing what I love. This does not work for me. This is a blessing that I get to do this. What we're going to do this afternoon is I'm going to go places that most speakers don't go with young people your age. And as the one guy asked me on interview while he was filming me, he said, why do you think you need to talk about things like this at this age group? Do you think the kids are getting worse? And I said, no, sir, they're not. Kids are the same. Home lives are getting worse. So for the next hour and a few minutes, I am not going to treat you like a middle school kid, because this middle school kid is a whole lot different than when we were middle school kids. I'm going to speak to you as young adults. I'm going to show you some tough stories. I'm going to get very emotionally close to some of your worlds. I know nothing about any of you, so don't panic. No one told me anything, okay? Say okay. All right, so there's your intro. Now, I don't usually walk around with a cable mic, but that's the way it worked out today, and we're all good with that. But I'm going to walk these steps even though I still have a corded mic with me, and that's because I'm ADHD, and when I walk, it helps me focus. So for my fellow ADDers, you'll love it. For my linear people, you'll be like, dude, why are you moving? Stop moving. I'm standing in the presence of what? And you're looking at me like, whatever, dude, just get your talk done. Okay, I will. But just remember this. I told you I'm going to treat you like young adults, not kids. So right off the bat, in this assembly right now, I have at least a few adults and unfortunately a couple of students. And I don't want to embarrass you, so we're not going to do the hand thing. But you were there when the loved one that meant so much to you was dying of cancer and they passed. And I want you to know that I'm sorry for your loss. I can't bring them back, but I have this crazy fantasy that someday some kid somewhere will be horsing around in a laboratory, bump a beaker, professors will flake out, he or she'll leave the room, come back with 5 more professors and be like, wow, throw down at the college level. And they'll come by and walk right by you to the spill, and they'll stare at your spill, and somebody will say, do you have any idea what you've done? And because you're embarrassed, you're like, yeah, dude, I know what I did. I bumped a beaker, and they're like, no, man, you cured cancer. And no one's laughing. Everybody's staring at you. And you're like, what? And you're like, yeah, watch. Coach DeRamo from Boardman High School gave me my first pipette. That's what this is. I've described it for years as this little rubber sucker dipper thingy. And Coach DeRamo, about 6 weeks ago, goes, Coach, would you like a pipette? And I'm like, I don't know what the heck a pipette is. He goes, let me go show you. And he grabs me and I'm like, what is it? He goes, that's what you're talking about. That's that rubber dipper sucker dipper thingy. I'm like, no way. He says, do you want it? I said, can I have it? He's like, yeah. I'm like, I love you. So I have my own pipette. It goes right in my case with my laser. And I want you to know that this professor's going to take and suck up an accidental part of your spill, put it on a slide that's got cancer on it, and the cancer's going to go away. Dead people don't bump beakers. Your generation's quitting more than ever. I have cutters in this room, I have kids that have already attempted suicide, and I'm telling you right now, cut it out. Go talk to an adult, pick their brain until they help you understand you're not an accident, you're not a mistake, there's a purpose for your life, you're here for a reason. If you think I'm making that up, just give me a few minutes to explain. Fair enough? I always like to show, not tell. It's my background from sales when I sold copiers for, I don't even know how many years, 16 years, I think. There I am. Woo! Yeah, baby. Yeah. I love to watch people's faces because they're like, what the heck happened? Oh, the same thing that's going to happen to you in about 20, 35 years. Yeah. You'll get up one morning, you'll get in front of the mirror in the bathroom, you'll be like, where's everything gone? Yeah, that's what's going to happen. So there I am. Now, in case you didn't hear your principal say, I married my high school sweetheart, that was us probably in 1980, 81. This is us just a few weeks ago. I still look weird no matter how hard I try. But if you haven't noticed something, my bride, the hottie, still gets better looking every year. Gentlemen, these are the best pictures you're going to ever have of yourself as right now. Full heads of hair, traps. We're going to add 35 years to you guys, and you're going to have a baby bump also, a lot of you. So you should hurry up and enjoy it. Ladies, I'm telling you, don't freak, especially for the girl in this room that goes, I'm not pretty. Listen, young lady, shh, quiet. Stop talking about that in your head. Just be quiet and let the flower of your beauty over the next few 10, 15, 20 years bloom. My bride's gotten hotter since the day I met her, so relax, ladies. Give yourselves some room. Now, my babies, 1988, 1990. My babies were born Courtney first, 1988. I watched Courtney get born, birth, whatever you call it. I looked at my wife and went, you never have to do that again. That was horrible. And she's looking at me like, shut up, I had to push the baby out, not you. 2 years later, we had David. And I'm telling you, when I'm on the road by myself and Sue's not with me, Mrs. Cahoot, I get all emotional because I'm like, I miss my family. But I got a grip this week because I just look over there and there's my hottie and she just smiles at me like, shush up and look away, everyone, look away. So there's my babies, and now there's my babies. And I look at those kids and I think to myself, how fast it went. This afternoon, I told you I'm standing in the presence of, and I'm going to have a kid that says, I ain't saying that. And you know what, young person? Then I didn't come here to speak to you anyway, so don't fight me. You're not ready to hear this talk. This talk is very specific. This talk is very targeted. And it's to the young person in this room who someday may accidentally bump a beaker, cure cancer, or even just more importantly, become someday the greatest spouse to another person ever, or the greatest parent to a kid ever. Or better yet, maybe someday you replace me, or your principal, or the folks in this room who are teaching you. If you don't like the people in your world that are adults, I'd suggest when you grow up, do it different. Huh? You like that? You should see you looking at me like, you're mean, mister. Yeah, you're going to take responsibility whether you like it or not. So, there's my babies, there's my bride, and let me show you what I've done over the last few years. I quit my job the first time in 1999, and I went to work for Fellowship of Christian Athletes. When the door was supposed to close and I wouldn't leave FCA, I got fired. Yeah, when you get fired from a Christian organization, you know you either really screwed up in life or there's something bigger. And the bigger was in 2004 when I got canned. I went back to Valley office to help them with some things that I worked for them prior. And then 2 years later, 2 people blessed us with some financial gifts and said, go tell kids they matter. One check was 50 grand, the other check was $250,000, and I thought I was a bazillionaire. I'm like, I'm gonna buy a Bugatti and a house on the beach and a private jet. And they're like, dude, you're a knucklehead. It's 300 grand, settle down. But it was enough money to let me buy the gear you see and come into your world today and say that I am really standing in the presence of greatness. You're not an accident, you're not a mistake, there's a purpose of your life. And you're like, why do you say that fast? Say it a few times a day, every day. and you'll get it down pat. I've traveled. I went to Guatemala. I spoke in one of the largest churches in Guatemala. It seats almost 14,000 people. But it still comes down to one person. So when I'm speaking to large groups, I'm never speaking to large groups. I'm only speaking to a few kids, or adults, depending on the venue. In Guatemala, I had an aha moment. The aha moment was this: I don't want to travel anymore. I want to stay in the United States and tell our kids they matter, because our generation of leaders are dying. Adults, there was never a day in our life that we thought we'd be in a position as Americans that we had no one to vote for. Even the best candidate ain't the best candidate. As I tell everybody, Trump ain't gonna fix it, the Burn ain't gonna fix it, Hillary won't fix it, because they're a part of the problem just like we are. We're selfish, we're self-centered, and we want our way. How many of you have ever gone to a grocery store and watched a child latch onto a candy bar at the checkout, sitting backwards in their little seat? When the mother or dad said, "Oh, honey, put that back," did the child go, "Oh, I'm sorry, okay," and handed it to them? No. Child had a meltdown. And we have adults having meltdowns, yes or no? Because I'm looking at the adults going, I know. So, been to Guatemala, been to Oslo, Norway. I've been probably 5 different parts of the world speaking. Sweden was really cool. Panama City was neat. I had a very awkward experience in Panama City, Panama. When I'm speaking, and again, usually I'm cordless, so I'm running the whole room. I'd be walking up your steps, I'm walking around the front, the back. I had an opportunity to work that room. There's 500 folks plus in there. I always have an interpreter, which is tough for me because I like to talk really fast, and with an interpreter you have to... No, just wait. And let them speak in their language, and then go, talk really fast, and then I can't stand that because they're still looking at me like, hey, mister, slow down, and I have to... You get the theory? I hate it. But I love people, and I like to mess with people. So I'm in Panama City, Panama. I'm speaking at this event. It's going really well. And because I'm ADD and I'm walking the room, I noticed this dude had just a row of hair. And I said to my interpreter, come follow me. So my interpreter was like, where are we going now? So we're out in the audience, we walk way deep into the audience, and I walk up to this kid and I said, tell him, dude, you have my reverse haircut. And the audience is laughing because some understand English and some are already listening to him say it in Spanish. And the kids look at me and said, I'm jealous. And we're all laughing. I'm thinking it's a really cool, fun moment, you know, building relationships. The next morning, I'm getting ready to finish lesson 3 of the day. And I see this kid, and his hair's gone. And I hurried up and got the soonest, anybody that could speak English and Spanish, I said, please come with me right now. And he's like, what's the matter? I said, come now. And we walk over to the kid, I said, please ask him why he shaved his hair off. And they're going in Spanish 100 miles a minute. Spanish always sounds like you're talking faster, but apparently to them they're not. So, he looks at me, he goes, David, he shaved his hair off because he felt that you were saying he was disrespectful because he had hair and you didn't. And I'm like, oh, dude, come on, man. And then I remembered the international training. They told us, hey, when you go to other parts of the world, be careful with your humor because some American humor doesn't translate. And clearly, my man that shaved his hair off didn't understand. I was just kidding. So there's a lot of reasons why I want to stay in the States and speak, but the most important one is because of that flag. That flag represents the United States of America, and we're not anymore. We still have racism in this country, which to me is mind-blowing. These schools are paying professionals to come in and do relational counseling, bullying assemblies, and I'm thinking, really? We haven't figured it out. So I'm going to stay here. I'm going to tell my kids they're great. And when you get the narcissistic kid in the audience, he goes, dude, I am. I'm amazing. I'm like, no, you're not. You think you're amazing? Yeah, go home and make your bed. I hate making my bed. Right, go home and make your bed. I haven't made my bed for 6 years. I know, go home and make your bed. I don't want to shut up and go home and make your bed. You can't say shut up, shut up. Go home, make your bed. Hey, you're mean. Yeah, I'm mean. You know what I'm mean about? Someday when it's your turn to lead, people are going to say, tell me why I should. And when you stand there going, well, when you put it that way, I wouldn't even follow me. You want to be a leader? It's Friday. You go home, you make your bed. Yes, if you live with your parents or a legal guardian, someone's going to come flying down the hall and go, "What's the matter? What are you doing?" "In my bed." "Why? What did you do?" "Relax, man. Nothing. This fat little balding guy came into my world today with a patch for bangs, and he said I was great. But greatness doesn't talk about it. It doesn't. And the name of his organization, Stark, is cheating." I'm like, oh my gosh, he's right. I got to go home and make a bed. Ladies and gentlemen, how many here need to go home and, honest to gosh, make a bed today? Yeah, by the way, there's adults, but the adult, I had a couple adults, thank you. Usually the adults are like, oh, we still fight about it. So, talk is cheap, go home, make your bed. Here's the deal. Talk is cheap, but the message isn't. What's the message? It's very simple. I'm not only standing in the presence of what? But I got a future speaker in my midst somewhere when I go and speak. And I got a kid here right now in this assembly. You think you don't matter. Oh my gosh, your parents or legal guardian or aunt or grandparents or whomever the human was that likes you said, "No man, you got value." And you're like, okay. So rather than me try to convince you that you do, let me let you know that I felt the same exact way you do when I was your age. Someday. So I came into your building, you got situated, I had to go potty, went to your water fountain, and I saw this. Talk is cheap. We could post this on every kid's forehead. You ruined a perfectly good friendship because of something done when you were here. Or simply because the person who messed up, you won't forgive. You'd rather hold a grudge. And I assure you today, as you look at this sheet, our phones are not smart. Phones are an instrument that we can do smart things with or dumb things with. Now, this is being filmed so everybody in the world can see it. So I want to be careful. I don't say anything that has letters coming to the principal or superintendent. But if you think you hired a guy that's milquetoast that's just going to tickle your ears, you got the wrong speaker. I am not here to make friends today. I got 43. I'm dyslexic. I have 4,300 friends on Facebook. I know 12 of those people. I ain't come here to get friends. I came here to meet my future beaker bumper. I came here to meet the kid who's contemplating this weekend going home and taking her life. Repeat this sentence with me. Suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. It was a 7th grader at Garrettsville, Ohio, that heard me speak, who clicked with me. And she went and told the superintendent, the guidance counselor. After I left, the principal called me a couple days later, said, "Coot, he's sitting down." I said, "I'm driving." He said, "Hey man, you rocked one of our kids' worlds." I said, "What happened?" He said, "Dad rapes his daughter while mom films it." And she told the guidance counselor. They confiscated the computer. They had the evidence. I have the paper trail of all the stories. Dad, mom, both went to prison. The little girl wrote me a letter, and she said, "Thank you, Mr. Cahoot, for saving my life. Oh, guys and ladies, let's get this clear. I don't save lives. I do exactly what Socrates said. I cannot make you learn, I can only make you think. And you're worth fighting for." I've had kids tell me, "Mr. Cahoot, I guarantee it was an accident." "What's your name?" Tells me his name. "Tell me why you know you're an accident." "My dad told me. Birth control didn't work." I looked at him, I said, "I'd like to go meet your dad, but then I'd probably have a prison ministry, because I'd knock the snot out of that dude." I said, "You know why it didn't work?" He's just looking at me with tears in his eyes. I said, "Because we had to have you." Do I have your attention yet? I'd say I do. You notice I haven't blown up any balloons and went, look, boys and girls, horsies, I'm not here to entertain. I'm here to make a difference that's going to last long after I'm gone. You ready to go to work? Yeah. First slide, if I can bring it up. What is it? And lady go, 2 parallel lines. Okay, good for you. So you got that one right. It's an equal sign. Read the word, please. You could say that all day long. The school we were at yesterday has more banners in their high school gymnasium than any school I've ever been in except Cardinal Mooney. And apparently they love basketball. And I had to use the locker room restroom yesterday because that was the only doors unlocked. And boy, it didn't take long for me to figure out why they are generating powerhouse basketball teams. From the moment they walk in the gym, their minds are being conditioned to remember, you're not a loser, you're a chooser. Gentlemen or ladies, whichever locker room, I only went with the guys, thank you very much. How you treat this court, how you treat this ball, and how you treat your team is going to say a lot about what we do this season. And then one of the coaches came down, and I knew it was a basketball coach because he was 9 feet tall. I'm like, I hope you're a basketball coach. He's like, yeah, why? I'm like, oh, dude, I just want to compliment you. This whole thing just reeks of success. He says it's designed that way. You know what's not designed this way? The rest of life. Most of you will go home today to no parents, maybe one. Some of you will go home today to no parents, and they may not even show up until late tonight. You are raising your younger brother and sister. Wasn't supposed to be that way, huh, moms and dads? But it is what it is, and you're either going to be a victim, or you're going to figure out a way to climb up, climb out, and say, I ain't quitting. I got greatness in me. That statement right there is probably more true than we'll ever know. Read the 5 elements to me very quickly. Ready, set, go.
Love, trust, respect, understanding, forgiveness.
I love when I'm in public schools and the staff start looking at each other like, how's he going to do the forgiveness piece? Very simple. I'm not a politically correct speaker. Look at Mr. Fisk going, dude, don't do this to me. It's my first year, man. No, I have the boundaries. I get it. This is my 800th plus school that I've spoken in public. I know the dumb boundaries that our stupid, small-minded society has set for us. Did I really just say all that? Oh yeah, I did. Yeah, because now everything goes, and there are no truths, no facts. Everybody can do what they want. How's that working out for us as a country? You should see the adults going, dude, don't look at me. I can't even get a union rep to fight that one if you get me in trouble. Look, I'm looking at you. You're my future. Treat each other with respect. Treat each other with kindness. Everybody's allowed to have their opinion. But let's stop this finger-pointing junk and saying, you're wrong, you're wrong. You know what? Who's right? Repeat this sentence with me. I have issues. Yeah, baby. You're darn right, man. If your parents would have heard that right now, they'd have openly wept going, how'd you get them to say it? Because I do. I had a teacher yesterday go, don't leave, I gotta show you something. I'm like, okay. She had his shirt on, I have issues. I'm like, come on, we gotta have a hug. I think Susie got a picture of that. Here's love to me, very simple. One picture. Oh yeah. See, you don't even see my wife or my kid. All you see is that dumb dog. Yeah. Let me tell you, I lost my masculinity to this golden doodle, okay? I didn't really care about dogs until we picked up Zoe as a puppy, and I'm like, oh my gosh, she's the cutest thing I've ever seen in my life. Now we treat her like, look at her eyes going, I hate being held. But we do, we treat her like she's family. My father-in-law just drives him nuts because she's up on our lap, she's on the beds. But you know what? My father-in-law, the coolest father-in-law I could have ever had, knows. I love my God, I love my wife, I love my kids, I love that dumb dog. And you know who's next on my list? This, I love to do this, just get close to creep you out. You. I know, kid going, if I see that man in my neighborhood today, I'm calling the cops. And well, you should, because if I'm screwing around like that, I don't deserve to have that trust. But my job today is to get a kid to go, so you're telling me there's a purpose? Yeah, I don't know what it is. Don't get all weird on me, ladies, and go, sir, could you tell me that? Honey, I have no idea. I have no idea. That's love to me. Trust. Say the word. Trust me when I say I can't make this stuff up. Now, I have a staff sitting way off on the side, so you don't have the privilege of seeing this like some of the kids do. That's a high school transcript. Do you know whose it is? Yeah, you only know that because you saw that picture. What I would like to show you about my amazing transcript is the GPA, boys and girls, because it clearly tells a story. Oh yeah, in case you can't see it, 1.68, which always has the staff going, really? You let that man come in and speak to our kids? You know why? Because I didn't stay that way. I grew up in a world where I was the only one of 4 siblings that was ADHD. My mom worked at night, my poor dad had to take care of us while mom was at work, and I would drive Jesus crazy as a kid, I assure you. In fact, I know this to be true. I went from public school to Catholic grade school between kindergarten, I went kindergarten, 1st, 2nd grade at this school in Brooklyn, Ohio, Cleveland, and then we moved to Youngstown, I went to St. Charles. And I went the whole 3rd grade not knowing that nuns had legs. I kid you not. See, the real old nuns, you only saw their face and their hands. And I'm like, they hover, man. They don't have legs, they hover. 4th grade. I saw one of the nuns' legs. I'm like, she's got legs. I was completely freaked. I knew they had rulers, because I got cranked on from both sleeves, she had rulers. And in the 5th grade, this is the gift sets I have, I made a nun swear. You're not supposed to be able to make a nun swear. She swore at me, I went, hey, you can't say that. She goes, I just did. I'm like, oh. How many in the room like me have that gift where you can tick people off and you're not even trying? Yeah. Look at the teachers. Look at the teacher going, I can't stand him, I can't stand her. They go crazy. So, my job is to tell you that had I kept up what I was doing, yes, I drove my siblings crazy. Yes, I drove my mom and dad crazy. But no one gave up on me but me. And if you want to meet the most disgusting, terrible person in your life, just go to a mirror. Because the stuff we say in our heads, the things we think about ourselves, am I telling the truth or am I lying? Yeah, I wasn't dumb. At 18, I re-engaged in my Catholic faith. In fact, I just lost one of my first mentors. His name was Father Nick Short. And I remember I drove him crazy. I'd go down to St. Elizabeth and pick his brain while he was working. And just a few weeks ago, he died. But he has forever impacted my life. Who's impacting yours? People, places, things. That's all there are. People, places, things. Repeat that with me. People, places, things. Now listen, because there's a kid in here right now, and I know adults get a little stressed when I say this, but you know what? I tell kids truth. I've got a future divorced person in this 7th, 8th grade class. I have a future, most likely, in a room this big. I probably have a future alcoholic. I have a future addict. I have a future all kinds of not good things. I have some future great stuff in here too. But the reason I'm focusing on the negative is because it was your choice. Remember? Choices equal what? And the reason Mr. Fisk asked your principal, hey, can we get this guy in before the end of the year, is because these adults in this room, whether you believe this or not, and I am not asking, I'm telling you, they like you, they care about you, they want you to succeed. I didn't say they like you all the time. Charlie Tremendous Jones was sharing a stage. There was about 4,000 or 5,000 people in the auditorium. Zig Ziglar was the main speaker. You don't even know who that is anymore. And all you got to do, not now, is Google him later. And you can learn tremendous things from Charlie Tremendous Jones and Zig Ziglar. But Charlie Tremendous Jones got up and his personality was completely different from Zig Ziglar's. And he was calling people thumb suckers and picking on adults. And I'm going, I like that guy. And then he made this statement: you will be the same person you are today 5 years from now, except for the people you meet and the books you read. And I was like, what? So I bought the cassette tape, and I listened to it over and over until I could say, you'll be the same person you are today 5 years from now, except for the people you meet and the books you read. And I started hanging out with healthier, better, stronger, smarter people than me. I went to school for 1 quarter at YSU and discovered that 13th year is really hard when the first 12 aren't taken very seriously. And I dropped out of YSU and I went into sales. And God blessed my career there. I have the Kahoot gene for selling. Clearly, I have the Kahoot gene for selling. Look, I got Mrs. Kahoot to marry me. That was a huge sales job. And I've got a kid sitting in this audience right now. You're actually listening. At inner city school in Dayton, the teacher emailed me the next day. She said, David, my day, my week, my month has been made. I had a 5th grader who, every time I look into their eyes, all I see is dead. No hope, no joy. And she said, she walked up to me after you left and she goes, I have a purpose. And she had a sparkle in her eye and she said, thank you so much for impacting our kids. My pleasure, as they say at Chick-fil-A. You read the right books. You send the right stuff. All of a sudden, without even trying, good things will happen in your life. It's a sowing and reaping principle. We reap what we sow. There's a kid here today. You said in your head, I can't even believe how I talk anymore. It's just so vulgar. I never used to talk like this. It's because you knew what you were doing was wrong and you didn't stop it. Because you have a choice to make. How many would be honest this afternoon at 25 to 2 and say, I need to make some changes in my life? Yeah, see, I love how humans work. I'll look around and see if they're putting their hand up because I want to, but I don't want to be the only one. You want to know what leadership is? John C. Maxwell says that leadership is nothing more, nothing less than influence. We have leaders in this room that are doing some influencing for the good and some influencing for the bad. Ladies, let me tell you a secret about these boys that are so darn cute. They're lying. They're bold-faced lying. I love you. You're the most amazing girl in the whole world. It's always... Tell, say, hey, hold on there, young man. Hold on. Ding, ding, ding. Here. Who is it? It's my dad. Tell him. Gentlemen, you know when you'll treat girls like a treasure, not a target? When you have a daughter. Can I get an amen from the adults in this room, even though we're not in church? Come on. Yeah, look at Dad's going, dude, I'll kill the kid. I mean, I'll go to jail. All right, I just got killed. Gentlemen, I am not here today to tell you that hormonally you're not challenged. You are. I always get one kid, Mr. Goo, can I show you something? Yeah, man, what's up? Watch! And you run full blast in the cement wall and you're like, what the high I go? Dude, what the heck? I went almost 8 feet, Mr. Goo. One time I almost went 10, but I broke my arm, but then with the sling I discovered it gave me more momentum, so I went almost 11 feet. 11 feet, Mr. Goo! And there's a bunch of girls standing there going, these boys are so weird. Oh, I know. See, ladies, when you were being formed in your mother's womb, you had estrogen that was just pouncing and prancing around in there with you. I call them cotton balls, okay? Just real silly, nice, happy stuff. The boys' brains were being pulverized by testosterone. So by the time the kid came out, it's like, what? And seriously, 2 years later, you got a girl going, hello, how are you? And the boy going, what? Am I telling the truth or am I lying? So, there's some differences in the brain processing and the mechanisms that go into all that. Now, kids, you think I'm making all this up. What you put in will... And I would wonder, in a group this big, how many have a cell phone? And how many pay for it, you little thumb suckers? Yeah, 9, 12, 15 kids. Right, put them down. So here's what I would say about your cell phone. Give me your cell phone, I'm going to intentionally put a virus on it. Would you say, okay? Now, you'd be like, dude, no way, that's not happening. Why? Because I like my phone and you're not messing it up. Well, you know what? When you start liking you as much as you like your phone, maybe you'll stop putting some of the junk in that you're letting in. Is that good or bad, what I'm telling you? The adults are like, keep going, mister, just keep going. Watch. Because everyone in this video is going to get replaced. And it's going to be by people like you. Your story will make the tape. Aunt Mimi was wrong. Could you imagine kicking an Edison out of the class if she asked him questions? Born here, I understand, yes? Thomas Edison? That one I have to talk about. What did he sell? That doesn't mean anything to you. You're like, whatever, dude. What the heck's a Volkswagen like that anyway? Let's get real. How many own your phone? You paid for your phone. Yeah, there wasn't a lot. About 19 of you, 20. Give me your phone. I'll give you $40 for it. Oh, it's worth $300. I'll give you $40 for it, so you can go buy more stuff to continue to pursue your dream, this idea, this cool thing that you think might work if you could just tweak it a little bit. Most of you are staring at me like, dude, I'll have to kill you, okay? I'm not giving you my phone. And that's because in this country, we've stopped inventing things. We've stopped imagining things. We've stopped dreaming. We have kids today, you're like, what do you want to be when you grow up? I don't know. That's not alarming. It's when you go talk to the parents. What are you doing with your life? I don't know. That's what's upsetting. Because you're following them. I've said nothing disrespectful about your parents. Parent, legal guardian. All I'm telling you is, if you don't like what you see, stop talking and do something about it. That guy sold his vehicle. Let me ask again, how many have an Apple product in this room? Well, you have this kid to thank for selling his Volkswagen so he could buy more computer parts. That means nothing to you, does it? Okay, tell me what Walt Disney, the company's worth today. Could you imagine, what is your name? You look like a nice human. Mrs., that's sorry, we had to do the Mrs. part, I forgot. Mrs. Goodright, would you give me $750 and I'll turn it into $64 billion for you? Every staff member would be clamoring at my door going, I want in! Except you understand that when he started this, they fired him from a newspaper because they said he lacked imagination and creativity. And you're gonna have some kid in this world that says to you, you're dumb. And you gotta smile and go, you don't know me. My football players, I love you guys, but you crack me up. You practice, and then you line up against some kid, and he says one thing about your mother, and you're like, dude, you're off sides. And I'm like, are you stupid? No, don't do that. Just look up through your helmet and go, dude, my mom rocks, and now I'm gonna rock you. Bam! Take them out.
Get up on a fast train, travel on a jet plane far away, and break away. I'll spread my wings and I'll fly, do what it takes till I touch the sky. Now take a wish, take a chance, take a chance.
When they tell you you can't do it, prove them wrong. Adults, come on, how many have kids? Any adults have kids in college? Adults? Hands quickly so I can see. Hey mom, hi. Hey, I'm dropping out of college. Oh, that's nice. Why? Harvard. I'm dropping out of college. Harvard. How's that call gonna go? Are you out of your mind? You're not doing that. There's not a snowball. And then we just go down the whole list of arguments. And the kid says, but mom, you don't understand. I listen to these professors and they're awesome, but I don't care what they say. I got an idea in my mind. I can't sleep at night. I just wake up thinking about it. And I've even told to my professors, and they look at me like I'm a whack ball. This college is killing me. College is killing me. I gotta go. No, Billy, you can't. Oh, that Billy, he's so smart. He stopped long before we did. Hear the sarcasm I'm using? Because every one of your lifetime will hear somebody tell you, you'll never do that. You could never do that. And when they tell you that, that's when you smile and go, huh, I must be on to something. When she knew what her purpose in life was. Don't tell me you're too young. You can't tell me you're ordinary. That I'll believe. Read it out loud on 3. 1, 2, 3. Sure. Nobody's exceptional. We do exceptional things. No kid has ever been born out of a womb and went, well, that was a crazy ride. Hey, what's going on? They all did it the same way. They came out looking around going, what is happening? And then some dude cracked them. They're like, I don't like you. And then they cut the cord and like, hey, what's going on? It's gone downhill ever since, hasn't it? It's been brutal. And yet somehow in the midst of all this thing called living, you got to figure out a way to not quit. Repeat the sentence with me, please. Quitters never win. Winners never quit. Had foosball been a school sport, former Mr. AD person, I would have been considered a school jock. But since foosball's not a managed program in the school system, I am not a jock. And when I went and spoke at Ohio State, as it ended up unfortunately being Coach Trustle's last year, you have to know that some people, even on my board, were ticked. Like, dude, you don't even know when he put his name on the team. How do you get to go? I said, well, because Coach Trust knows something. I don't care about football. I care about the kids and coaches who coach and play it. And one of my buddies goes, just tell me one player's name on the team. I said, okay, quarterback. He goes, all right, what's his name? I said, it's quarterback. He's like, you're such a jerk. I said, I know, it's a gift. The places I've been, the things I've done, the people I've met, all because I'm trying to sow good seeds. The speaker today had a GPA, an amazing GPA, boys and girls, yes. Of what? Yeah, the adults were like, oh dear Lord, how's he gonna spin this one? You know what else the speaker just finished? In fact, Monday night at 4:30, I have a mastermind call with our publisher to get this book out finally that we wrote 2 years ago. Myself and a young lady I went to grade school with. She went to a different high school than me, and then we met back up when she worked in a school and I was a speaker, and she said, what are you doing here? I said, I speak for a living, and she started laughing. She goes, oh, seriously, what do you do? I said, you think I'm kidding? Come to one of my classes, I'm here all day. And she's still traumatized, because she's like, you jumped up on a table, you scared me. The kids thought it was awesome, but I'm like, Kathy, that's what I do. I'm not speaking to adults. I gotta speak to my next generation. Dear Lord, you're going to push my wheelchair someday. I want you to be nice to me. And just so you know, you're that man, and you're ramming me into a wall. So I want you to like me. The title of the book is Standing in the Presence of. The front cover of the book is going to be a mirror, like that mirror you see at a circus salon when you walk in front of it. You know, it makes you look kind of funny, except it'll be right there in your hand. And at the bottom of the book cover, it'll say, why can't you see it? And then you'll read 7 chapters. I'm a simple man, 7 chapters. And boys and girls, the book has pictures. Yeah! Right! I hate that. I open a book, I'm like, no pictures! They're clapping. And at the back of the 7th chapter, it says, now, open to the inside back cover and see what greatness really looks like. And when you open it, it's a regular mirror, and you see you. I'm telling you, dude, one of these days, I'll meet some kid, and you're gonna roll up to me. This is how technology I fantasize will work someday. You'll be like, Mr. Goody there. Hey, what's up? Oh, you're alive. Yeah, dude, it's only been 3 years ago. Hey, I have to tell you something. You'll never believe. Don't say that to me. Don't ever say I'll never believe it. Anything you tell me, I'll believe. I've heard some of the worst, and I've heard some of the best. You have no idea what's going to happen in the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. I do know one thing. You should enjoy those bangs every day, little man. Just play with them, let them grow. Be like a sheepdog. Yeah, because it's changing for some of you. Just look at Grandpa. Yeah. All right, let's keep going. Say the word. Law of the lid says that if you put fleas in a jar, they can't get out if you leave a lid on the jar for 3 days. Most will be dead. The few that aren't dead, when you take the lid off, won't try anymore. When I'm asked by adults or interviewed for articles or stories or TV, they'll say, so, you know, what do you think's wrong with kids today? I always say, first, home, and then secondly, apathy. There's just no desire anymore. Kids would rather sit at home and pretend they're doing something than go outside and do something. You should have seen at my house how my kids were traumatized. They had a chores list. You know, it was very simple. It just reversed. Every day Courtney did David's, every other day David did Courtney's, and they were like, Dad, we're in high school now. We don't have to do chores. I went, no, you are correct about that. Get your stuff going. What do you mean? Leave. Go live somewhere else. Oh, right. I'll help you. Grandma's in the backyard with Grandpa. They'll take you in. Oh, come on. Do your chores and be quiet. You're mean. You should see how neat my kids' worlds are now at 26 and 28. How they wash their own cars, how they actually fold their own clothes and wash them. I saw a post on Facebook. I gotta be careful. She could be watching this on the internet. But her college son came home. If that kid didn't have 14 bags of laundry dumped in a pile, and I guess, based on what I read, he assumes she'll do it. My mom was cool, man. She'd have walked up and went, what's going on here? You have to do my wash. After she stopped laughing, she'd go, you see these arms? You got them too. Start washing your own clothes. Lid words, I can't, I never, I always. Those words have not only hindered your life, now this is where it gets real, those words have ruined your parents' marriages. You've heard the screaming, you always, you never, and vice versa, she's yelled. And I assure you of something. Those are lid words. They will kill a relationship, the spirit. Lid lifting words. I can, I will, and I won't what? Now, in case you think I'm making this stuff up, watch the video.
Training fleas requires a glass jar with a lid. The fleas are placed inside the jar, and the lid is then sealed. They are left undisturbed for 3 days. Then, when the jar is opened, the fleas will not jump out. In fact, the fleas will never jump higher than the level set by the lid.
Behavior is now set for an hour or a day. I lead you intentionally so you won't figure it out. Watch what happens not only to the lid, but the jar.
Their behavior is now set for the rest of their lives.
They took the whole jar away. And when these fleas reproduce, which, by the way, we're not watching that. I have a tape of it if you'd like to see it later. But look at me. We want, as parents, as teachers, as educators, oh, hi, Mr. Gamerman. We want to meet your family, because it helps fill in so many blanks. Unless you're like me, an anomaly. I know my parents heard this from at least one set of teachers. Was David adopted? No, why? Well, there's David, then there's Lori, then there's Barbara, and then there's Jeff, and they're just nothing like him. And my mom and dad were both very, very Catholic, and they're like, I know. I was a late bloomer. I'll never, ever, ever be grateful enough for two parents who loved each other, still do, married over 50 years, who loved me when I wasn't lovable. I have two younger sisters who used to come out on the front porch as I would go up to the driveway to do not good things. And they'd cry and go, David, don't go. And I'd give them a certain hand gesture which did not mean they were number one, and laugh at them. And when I finally got my spiritual head where it needed to be, I asked my sisters once, what did you do when I would make fun of you? And they said, we'd go up to our room, we'd close our door, and we'd pray. Yesterday was a national day of prayer. We're not even allowed to talk about that stuff anymore. Unless, God forbid, a C-130 flies into this building and little Johnny's running down the hall on fire. Then we're like, oh my God, good Johnny! What the heck, man? When's this insanity gonna stop? We need some values, some principles, some purpose. Yes or no?
And when these fleas reproduce, their offspring will automatically follow their example.
Think about it. What's the lid in your life? By the way, there's nothing you can sell me on. You can't sell me on your lid. I don't care what your story is. And some of you have good stories. Not impressed. Talk to me. What do you want to do? Well, if I didn't know you have that. Shush up, keep going. Tell me what you want to do. Well, but no, stop talking about that. What do you want to do? Well, I'd like to. Good. Focus on it. Now get after it. I don't know how to. Ask us. We're adults. We got enough brains here. We'll figure it out. We'll help you. That's the biggest problem. We don't like to ask for help. You don't think I ask for directions? We've been driving together since Sunday. I stop and ask for directions. We have 2 GPSs in our car. We haven't gotten lost yet. And we haven't fought much either because we're both trying to play really nice in the car. You know who the knuckleheads in the car is, right? It's me, Mr. Speed Racer. Do you even all know who Speed Racer is anymore? Is that guy? Like, yeah. I'm gonna get a Mach 5 when I get to heaven. I'm gonna have cousin-it hair, okay? Cousin-it hair from the Addams family, and I'm gonna have a Mach 5. And I'll just be flying around, cutting trees down with my blades that come out the front. And you know what? Today is our final assembly. And for me, it's kind of sad. It's bittersweet. I'm not happy the week's over. I got to meet what today? It's pretty good. Say the word. Tell me what it is. Good. Whoever said cow nailed it. Good for you. You got it already. And there's always one that gets it, so relax, dude, okay? I mean, geez, he's up there going, I got it! So, for the rest of you who are now going, I don't see the cow, here, I'll trace out the face and put little blue dots on his eyes. It's there. Yeah, the problem is, if you see it wrong, you'll never see it. I said I was standing in the presence of, and you're like, no one's ever told us that before. Yeah, they have. They may have said it different, but they told you you mattered. They told you you had value. They told you you had purpose, and you didn't see it. Just because you can't see the cow doesn't mean it isn't there. How many see the cow? Now, for my folks that don't, and you're panicking going, oh snap, I'm not smart. Listen, self-talk, stop it, look at me. LD, currently in education, it stands for learning disabled or learning disability. Shame on us adults for letting these professors perpetuate that lie. Someone should have respectfully stood up and said, sir, ma'am, I don't want to fight with you, but listen, man, that's not cool. We're telling kids they got a disability? Well, yes, they do. They don't learn. Wait a minute. LD, you, generation, up and coming. Go fix it. LD, learning different. Ain't a dumb kid in this room. You haven't met me, have you? Dude, I still can't multiply or divide. Yes, I can do 5s. Yes, I can do 10. Somebody showed me a cool secret for 11s, 22, 33, 44, 55. But ask me 7 times 9 and you can yell the answer out. It's still crickets in my head. Because I wouldn't learn it. I could have. I didn't want to. Who lost? I did. I guarantee you, if I leave that cow picture up long enough, everyone in this room will see it. If I left it sitting on another screen while I continue on with my presentation, you'll hear this in the audience. Oh, I see it. Yeah, because you're not dumb. You just process different. Agree or disagree? Let's keep going because time is not my friend. Say the word. What is this? Yeah, I haven't met a group since this little girl. I was in a school and she goes, oh, it's a pig. I'm like, oh no, honey, that's a wild boar. She goes, well, it's from the pig-like family. And I'm like, hey, relax, man, okay? So now I gotta put wild boar across the top. You're about to watch 4 grown men in the NFL get their heads played with. From the neck up, they go to this leadership camp to learn how to be stronger mentally, not physically. They can already do that. These guys are NFL football players you're about to watch. But Jack Groppel, I saw this video live in 2005 and I bought the DVD. And I've been showing it ever since. And I'm going to tell you as I stand here in front of you this afternoon, I got a kid. You've already been listening to the smack so much, you're done. You quit. And you're the one I'm fighting for. You're the one I've driven all over Ohio to come to today to say, get up, shut up, and get going again. Hey, you gotta stop saying shut up. Be quiet. Get going. We ain't done yet. There's a purpose for your life. How do you know you won't be the kid someday that bumps the beaker or invents the new operating system that makes Apple and Windows look like a joke? How do you know that? You don't. So, as you watch this, let me help you understand what emotionally hijacked means. It's the amygdala processing part of the brain that he's dealing with. Adults, we know that as this. Your husband or wife comes home and says, I got bad news. Well, whenever they start with that line, that's just never good. And then our brains, before they even tell us the bad news, begin to process what could be the worst news, whatever that is. Let's keep it simpler than that. How many have a basement? How many have ever had to go down the basement at home alone at night and found yourself sprinting back up the steps? Yeah. By the way, I love this because a lot of you put your hands up that you have a basement, but when I ask that question, more of you put your hands up, and I always wonder, whose basement are you in, okay? So for the kid that's never had the basement experience, here's you. You're almost asleep on your slab at home or whatever home doesn't have a basement, and you hear something, you're like, you're drooling, you're almost asleep, and you're like, and you stop breathing because in your head you say, dude, I heard something. So you lay there and you turn on your supersonic hearing by not breathing. And you're about 20, 25 seconds into not breathing so that your supersonic hearing can hear whatever it was and wherever it came from. And then you realize, oh snap, if I don't breathe, I'm gonna die. But if I do breathe, I'm gonna die. So in one swift ninja move, you jump off the bed, you hit the floor screaming, come on, come on! You open your closet door and some dumb balloon is beeping up against the ceiling and you're like, I hate balloons! Watch these 4 grown men. They're being lied to. They're told they have to run a 1-mile run in 9 minutes. As soon as they hear that, they think, dude, I could smoke that time. That's not the point. They'll never finish the run.
Paul? But everybody's seen American football play. These were monster men. The average size was 6'4", just under 2 meters, 300 pounds, 136 kilograms. One of them, a monster of a man. 350 pounds, 159 kilograms. He was in our fitness center in Orlando. I called him over to me. Now he's about this tall. I looked up and I said, tell me what goes on in your mind when you look up from the offensive line and you see someone from the opposing team running right back to you. He looked down at me and he said, I'm going to fold him in half. Okay. But we told these 4 monster men in the NFL that we had a mission for them. There's a wilderness trail that goes behind our property. It goes toward the airport in Orlando. And your mission is to run out this trail. You're to run a 9-minute mile. At the 1-mile marker, there's a white fence that comes out to the trail. Your mission is to touch the white fence and then run back in 9 minutes, 18 minutes total. They said that's all we have to do is touch the white fence? That's it. Just touch the white fence. That's it. They said, okay. So they sat down and they started putting their running shoes on. Now we have rules of engagement. Gentlemen, you're going to be running through the swamp. There's a canal that runs by this trail. Alligator migrate in and out of this canal. Keep your eyes open. And gentlemen, it's sunny outside. Poisonous snakes will be sunning themselves on the trail. Now they won't bother you, but if you see a snake coiled up, steer clear and go around it. They got to the front door, we had our stopwatches ready. Oh guys, sorry, we forgot to tell you. Just yesterday we sighted some wild boar out there. Now these wild pigs, gentlemen, are bigger than you are. They have razor-sharp tusks, and they will attack you unprovoked. So if you encounter a wild boar, you must take appropriate action. But above all else, gentlemen, you must, what everybody, in the face of the storm, complete the mission. What's the mission? Touch the white fence. Ready? Go! So they took off. I want you to get this mental picture because 2 of our team members were hiding in the bushes. Here are these big mammoth men in the NFL jogging down this dirt road in the tropics. They're looking around and hear the bugs. One of our team members leaned over, grabbed a small bush and went...
He's very proud.
We had a video camera.
They have no idea they're being filmed.
Would you like to see the tape? Here's what you're looking at now. Let's come back to the model that we're going to present to you today. Here's what you're looking at. You are looking at what happens to a human being when confronted by a storm for which they are not prepared.
Do you know what that means in English? That means at your age, somebody may say something to you like this. Everybody does it. No, they don't. Everybody does that. No, they don't. Everybody smokes. No, they don't. Everybody's trying. No, they're not. Wrong voices, wrong choices. Believe me on that.
Let's run the tape, please.
Poor guy on the left keeps looking behind him. Here comes the bush.
They ran all the way back to our center. They showed up and go, welcome back. You touched the white fence? No. No? Well, why not? We heard something. What do you mean you heard something? Then they actually stuttered. There was a wild boar in the bushes. their faces photographed in any way whatsoever. But we had 4 elite team members of the FBI SWAT program. And we did the same thing with them. The mission is what, everybody? Touch the white fence. Got to do it in 18 minutes. Watch out for the alligator. Watch out for the snakes. Watch out for the wild boar. If you encounter a wild boar, you must take appropriate action, but above all else, complete the mission. They took off. Our 2 team members were hiding in the same spot. Grabs the same bush. This is what the FBI did. The guy holding the camera went, "What if they brought their guns?"
All right, we'll let him make these 2 points and then we're going to finish up. We have about 15 minutes, yes? I want to go on your clock.
Now this teaches us 2 things.
Listen.
1, you will respond to any storm the way you train. You will respond to any storm the way you train.
English. If you don't think you can, you won't. Maybe it's time to stop saying, I don't think I can. Maybe it's time to start saying, maybe I can. I took algebra at YSU. And my friend said, "Dude, you can't even multiply or divide. What are you taking algebra for?" I'm like, "Dude, it's a part of the curriculum. I gotta do math." They're like, "Good luck." And I sat down with the professor and I said, "I'm not dumb." But you'd look at my transcript and probably wonder, "Oh, really?" And I've always quit easy. But I gotta do this algebra 1 thing. Could you help me? He goes, "Sure, what do you want?" I said, "I want you to be patient with me. I may ask more questions than the whole class combined, but I'm not messing around. I really want to learn this." He says, "Okay." We went through the whole quarter semester, whatever they call it. I got 100% A. I'm not dumb. I took public speaking. I got 100% A. My buddy taught me to go and take a national park studying rocks. I got 100% F. I hate rocks. That's not my shtick. Listen, these adults can't help that the educational system is what it is, but someday you can change it. There's kids sitting in here right now. This doesn't work for you coming into a building every day. Relax, man. You're not dumb. Remember what LD stands for someday? Very good.
The second thing is, if you access the wrong emotion, even the simplest mission is impossible to reach. Because what's the difference in these football players and these FBI agents? It's all training.
Boom. That's it. The way you train your mind, the way you train in your habits, the way you train in your thoughts will produce fruit. Let's keep going. We've got to finish this up.
It's all how we live our life. And I will tell you right now, it's multidimensional training. It's physical, it's emotional, it's mental, it's spiritual. We're going to go into that in much greater depth.
We are not. Say the word. Here we go, boys and girls. You're not a kid right now. You're a young adult. And someday someone's going to hurt you if they haven't already, emotionally, physically, mentally. And you're going to have to forgive them. Because if you don't, if you don't forgive them, even if they don't deserve it, they're living their lives and you're stuck. The difference between bitter and better is 1 letter, I. This video is a skit. It's a dad who's supposedly in prison for killing this kid's mom, that man's wife. This kid's going to confront his dad, but he's not going to say anything to him. He's not going to yell at him. He's not going to finger point at him, because that fixes nothing, right? Never argue with an idiot, lest a passerby say. Look at those 2 idiots arguing. Arguing fixes nothing. It gets everybody upset, and a lot of people around you uncomfortable. So he's going to confront him and just show him with cards. This is what you did to me. adults that have had this happen to them. And you could have been a part of fixing their worlds by making them feel a little better. But because they're different than you continue to pick. You're either a part of the solution or the problem. And for my problem people in this room, I'm asking you, cut it out. Be a team player. Let's work through this stuff. Who wants to be bitter? No one. It starts with you. Whether that man feels bad or not, whether that man responds to that kid or not, is not the point. This kid took the biggest step. He said, Dad, you did all these things to me. Mom, you did all these things to me. Grandpa, grandma, neighbor, babysitter, teacher, whoever. And I'm still going to forgive you because you're not going to leave me stuck. I ain't staying stuck bitter. I want to get better. You can put whoever's name you want there, whatever title you want there. Guys and ladies, remember I'm treating you like young adults. You need to stop moving around, let this play out. This is important for somebody here this afternoon. The C.S. Lewis quote is huge. Real forgiveness means looking steadily at the sin and seeing it in all of its horror, dirt, meanness, and malice, and nevertheless, being wholly reconciled to the person who has done it. C.S. Lewis. In an audience this big, I always find that it's not just kids that are crying or fighting back tears. It's adults. And I'm going to tell you, if us adults could be completely truthful with you, we would tell you, don't harbor it. Don't hold on to it. Let it go. It killed a marriage. It killed a relationship. It killed a friendship. It's killing me. They would tell you. It's not killing me. I dealt with my issues. I had to sit down with some people and tell them some things. I had to confront some people and say, you did this, but we need to move on. I had to go tell somebody I was sorry for something I did to them. And at the time I did it, man, I was feeling pretty good, like, yeah, they deserve that. It was still wrong. You know how I can stand in front of 500,000 plus kids in my life so far and say that I'm standing in the presence of greatness? Because I believe that about me. As we finish, we ran out of time. But if I were to tell you this little boy's story who grew up and ended up almost killing his mother with his bare hands, you'd know something about this kid. He's not a loser. He's a chooser. He has hurts in his life, like you. He has people who've let him down, like you. But what he did is he served his time. Thank God his mom didn't die. And I asked him, would you like to be my guest and come speak in a school that I'm at? He's like, yeah, what do you want me to do? I said, it's Boardman Local Schools, man. It's where I went to school and you went to school. Come back and tell them you're sorry. Can you do that? He said, yeah, Coach, I can do that. Watch this.
People would be in the lost to your family. And there would be someone who would love to see you.
They didn't know he was there. They saw the pictures, they all knew who it was. This is K through 12 at this in-service. So these teachers know who he is, but they didn't know he was there. And they haven't heard how he's figured life out since he went to jail. Remember, mom doesn't die. They fix their relationship. They keep moving forward. But this audience doesn't know that about him. I said the teachers that stood, those were all the kindergarten, first, second, third grade teachers, they loved this kid. But he didn't love himself anymore.
The better. My name is Cameron Schaefer. I attended school here in Norwalk.
kid that's 18 years old, didn't even graduate high school yet, and he's sitting on the murder pod.
See, he dropped out of school. He didn't get his diploma. He's sitting on the murder pod because when the guys in the jail discovered he beat up a woman, his mom, they were going to kill him. Because this kid was living in a circle of lies, it was beginning to catch up. Remember what I said? What you sow, you what? Yep. So who are you building friendships with? Who are you loving on that doesn't feel that they're lovable? Listen to the self-talk this kid had going in his head.
When he came to jail, and I came to thinking, he was the people that I surrounded myself with. And Coach Good said, wrong voices leads to wrong choices. And then I thought, I'm the scum of the earth. You know, what do people outside this jail think of me now? And then I'm like, I'm the biggest loser in the world. And then I realized I'm not a loser. And there's not a kid in the school system that's a loser. They're just bad choosers. And I was a bad chooser. My purpose here today, accepting Coach Cahoot's invitation to speak here, is to say I'm sorry. And ask for the school's forgiveness. I'm sorry to all the teachers, coaches, you know who you are, that tried to help me the entire way. I just bit your heads. But I want you to know, I may have failed myself and failed you guys, but I'm not a failure. And I may have disappointed a lot of you, but I'm not done yet. On May 8th, 2009, I was not arrested, I was rescued. In the presence of greatness. Thank you.
So he didn't know it, but they gave him his diploma after he gave him his third standing O. As we finish, here's the questions to ask yourself as you leave today. One life, what will you do with it? Some of you need to go home and make a bed. Some of you need to tell somebody you're sorry. You've impacted them, but it's been negative. And some of you, honestly, have to start thinking, how will you be remembered? As we close, I keep a promise, whether I get to do it in 5 minutes or 2. And that promise is to this kid right here. I met him when he was in the 7th grade, and they found out just a few weeks after I met him that he had a tumor that was wrapped around his heart and his spine. I didn't know that boy very well, and to be honest with you, when I first met him, I didn't like him that much because he was rather annoying, until I realized he reminded me a whole lot of me. Cleveland Clinic took all but 10% of that tumor out. They chemoed and radiated the rest. And that little boy went into the 8th grade bald. And I'll never forget, when he came back, was allowed to be around kids again, his best friend, Nick Rose, walking up the sidewalk with Chris. And I'm looking at him, and I know why Chris is bald. He went through all that chemo. But Nick Rose bald. Nick goes to a different school district. They don't even go to the same school together. And I said to Nick Rose, what's with the dude? And he goes, dude, my best friend's going to be bald, so am I. First question as we close. How many of you would love to have a friend that would do that for you if you were going through chemo losing your hair? Because it's a trick question. Be that friend. Start today. When you get on the bus and there's a kid that's always picked on, stop it. When you go home this weekend, take down that garbage that's on your social media. Do you guys want to stay stuck or do you want to get better? Answer that. It's your call. For 3.5 years, this kid was cancer-free. And then the Cleveland Clinic discovered a tumor in his brain. And after extensive tests, they said he's not going to live and we can't do the surgery. It's inoperable. So a junior at Morgan High School is going to go through cancer again, and this time is assured he won't live. Hospice came in with less than 4 months left, and this boy became proactive. He picked that song for his funeral. He picked those words that we put on a Bible and laid in his casket that said, no fears, no regrets, just a future with promise, and he picked me to preach. He said, Cahoot, I want you to be funny at my funeral. I said, Chris, I can't. He goes, you always say the first 3 letters of funeral is fun. I'm like, yeah, dude, that's for a 95-year-old grandma, not a 17-year-old kid. And And then with the saddest look I've ever seen on his face, he said, "Promise me you'll never forget me." And I said, "The rest of my life, wherever I go and speak," and that's 5 different countries plus this United States, I've told kids, I've told adults his story, and I've told them with this question: what's your excuse? There's not a kid in this room that's an accident. There's not a kid in this room that's a mistake. You have a purpose. Today as you leave, we have pebbles, and the teachers are going to give the pebbles to you. If you can't do it because of time, get them on Monday from your teacher. Get a pebble to remember you have a purpose. Chris, on Thanksgiving Day 2000, passed away. He'd be 16 years older today. He'd be in his 30s if he was here. He's not. But you are. And it's your turn. And it starts right now. Go home, make a bed. Go home, tell someone you're sorry. Go home, tell someone you accept their apology. Go home, look in the mirror, and say it out loud. I'm standing in the presence of... Thank you for your time. Have a good day.
You guys can do better than that. This is great. As you leave today, Mr. Cahoot has what's called purpose pebbles. They're little pebbles because everyone here has a purpose. Mr. Beeman, Mr. Spettle, Miss Lawrence has a couple. You can take a purpose pebble with you. I got a couple things. I know this is kind of anticlimactic. Remember cheerleaders, tryouts are at the high school. Just want to make sure you know that. And I need to see Desiree Bibb. I have an envelope for you. We're going to dismiss from here. I know some of you have to go back to 6th period. We're going to do it in an orderly fashion, but we'll dismiss for the day from here. I want you all to have a great weekend. Thank you for being great people. Thanks a lot.